Yesterday, President Trump took a lap in the Beast at the Freedom 250 IndyCar Spectacular. Meanwhile, Joe Biden took laps around D.C. in this. Hard to find a parking space. Speaking of Trump, the Washington Post suggests that his recent weight gain poses a significant health risk, noting that Joe Biden kept his trim figure through a daily regimen of his pants. A group of girls practicing at a New York City soccer field were reportedly terrorized by a man wearing a penis mask. They were frightened until it was revealed the man was just Owen Wilson. Pizza Hut has announced that they are shortening their name, at least temporarily, to Hut. Meanwhile, Taco Bell is shortening its name to Diarrhea. A missing cat in England was found 86 miles away, 1 year after disappearing. Cat owners responded to the news saying, "I guess you have to drive even further to release your cat." Wow. Finally, big news here at Fox as Emily Compagno has become a permanent co-host of The Five. So here at our show, we wish Jesse the best in his future endeavors. All right, so despite failing over and over again, socialism just won't die. It just finds new hosts, like a tapeworm or Fox and Friends. Here's DSA zealot Hassan Piker singing a song mocking Charlie Kirk's death at his event this weekend. Yeah. Well, he's certainly a shoo-in to win Hamas Got Talent. But you know, Charlie had engaged Piker in formal debates, and they were both civil and professional. Then Piker treats his murder as a punchline for easy laughs from the mob. He respected Kirk while he was alive, but roasts him once he's dead. I'm surprised he's not selling Glad He's Dead merch on his website. But it's amazing how this crap lingers. DSA members have won 8 nationwide primaries, over 30 at the state level, racking up victories like a trans chick at a girls' track meet. Angie Nixon won in Florida. Here's a taste of what got her elected, including her claim that ICE would kill blacks.
They are going to racially profile us, and they are going to escalate things, and they are going to shoot and kill us, and they are going to get away with it unless we send people like me to Washington, D.C.
Do I support reparations? Absolutely. I'm the only candidate in the race that will say that.
Not extreme to want to make sure that we end for-profit prisons. They want is cheap labor or free labor, modern day slavery.
And folks often say like, oh, are you going to be able to work across the aisle with the Republicans? They are not trying to work across the aisle. They're literally trying to kill us.
Literally. Great. Republicans are literally trying to kill black people. Cool story, says Republicans. Here's our candidate for governor. But maybe she can sing a duet with Piker and combine Ebony and Ivory with Dumb and Dumber. So it's clear the DSA has become an infection the Dems can't seem to kick. Which raises a question. How does socialism, a disastrous concept, continue as a reoccurring option, despite a list of failures that rivals Pauly Shore's IMDb page? It's the same equation that occurs with bad movies, horrible landmarks, and Halloween candy. Necco wafers, candy corn, bit of honey. Now tell me, where am I supposed to put the razor blades? Instant failures become classics simply by enduring. It reminds me of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A building that failed due to unstable soil should have been demolished, but instead its defect made it a tourist attraction. But no one can inhabit it because it's not fit for living. Perhaps it's there to serve as a reminder that some screw-ups are so big, you keep them as a warning to mankind. Socialism is similar, except people inhabit it not by choice, but by force. And it's kept alive by academics whose ivory tower shields them from the mountains of dead it leaves behind. And for the young, dumb, and bored, socialism is just something to do other than face reality. For them, it's becoming a political Rocky Horror Picture Show, which remains one of the worst movies ever made, but it never dies. People revel in its awfulness. For 50 years, they've cosplayed its campy horror, but unlike socialism, at least no one's died from it. But it's a form of historical revisionism. Something initially bad gets rewritten as so bad it's good. A cult classic, if you will. Socialism's like that, except it's so bad, it's deadly. A cult success along the lines of Jim Jones and Charlie Manson. That's because, according to them, all relations between people are relations of power. And although they know how to attain power, they've yet to figure out how to do anything with it but kill. Because they've never done anything, period. That's basically the resume for a socialist. They invent nothing, build nothing, they only destroy. Which is why socialism cannot be called a system at all. It's an anti-system, a solvent that dissolves the existing structure but cannot hold its shape when the old one is gone. Karl Marx spent his life writing about why markets are evil, but almost zilch on what to do after you've destroyed it. That's because their success is measured by how much of the existing order they can destroy, and not whether you make things better. It's not defining a better way to run a society. It's creating a permanent moral license to oppose whatever a system currently exists. Their talent is to look at it and say, well, that's the problem, burn it down. So it's why Piker can rise without ever doing anything in life except mocking those who have done things in life. In a socialist world, that's achievement. In our world, just pathetic. Welcome! Tonight's guest. He considers the Taliban too soft on feminism. Fox News contributor Tom Shalhoub. He was voted most forgettable face by Sketch Artists Monthly. Co-host of the Stu and Dave Do America podcast, Stu Bergier. He still has a subscription to Reader's Digest. CEO and co-founder of The Federalist, Sean Davis. And she's America's favorite libertarian because no one can name another. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat the whistling is back. Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Yes.
Interesting combination of jacket and shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, that wasn't a compliment, so don't thank me. Just troubled by the whole thing. You know, when you come face to face with a socialist, do you try to engage or realize there's just too much backstory?
I kill them, Greg. Look, I think it's quite amazing. It's surprising that socialism is making a foothold because if you look at, you mentioned Karl Marx, okay? I looked up today. Karl Marx, born in the 1800s, first Marxist country, 1917, right? And then I looked up the Wright brothers, born in the 1800s, first flight, 1903. Just imagine if the Wright brothers failed, they died in their plane, and then every attempt at flight from then till now was a failure, ending in death.
Yeah.
And then Mamdani comes to town and he's like, I'm gonna build an airport, everybody flies for free. We'd be like, get lost. It doesn't work, right? So, and you know what's interesting? So many great examples in your monologue, except one, Greg, Pauly Shore. He's actually a great example of capitalism because although most of us, we look at his movies as kind of B movies, they're not failures. They're low-budget movies. Encino Man made money. Son-in-Law made money. In the Army Now made money.
Well, you know, I don't want to admit you're right because he was the only person in our audience that we had to kick out. Do you remember that, Kat?
I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't? Yeah, because he was making noise. I think he might have been on something. But he was so obnoxious.
He came to watch the show and
He
had
came
be
to watch
thrown
the
out?
show and he was talking throughout, so we threw him out.
All right. Well, like, you know what else? He's a capitalist, but he should be in jail.
Thank you. Stu, welcome to the show. I'm a big fan of you and Dave Landau's podcast on The Blaze. It's quite enjoyable.
Thank you. Yes, Dave's awesome. I'm all
he
right.
is. You're okay, too. What do you make about this? Like Hassan Piker, I said it on The Five, he's like autoerotic asphyxiation. You don't want to call attention to it because you don't want people to copy it,
Yeah.
but you have to call this out.
Well, you have to call out his wonderful singing voice, which you didn't give any credit to at all.
Yeah.
Usually it's difficult to hear on his podcast because you have to hear it over the yelping of his electrocuted dog.
Yes.
Which is difficult.
Right.
But he's just a terrible guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an equivalent on the right for somebody like that.
No.
It's really
Even our
disturbing.
really bad people don't say that.
Right.
You know?
I mean, you might, threaten occasionally people to die, but we don't actually want it to happen.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't sing songs celebrating it after.
Yeah.
I don't mean to speak for you, Tom, of course.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like they'll say, but Trump called Rosie a pig. It's like, yeah, but who hasn't?
Yeah, yes. It's just a large fact check, a very large fact check. Yes.
So, Sean, there's a lot in that monologue to pick from. What do you find that interests you?
What I find fascinating about Hassan Piker, so the first time I heard about him was through a comedian named Sam Hyde. So
Of course.
Sam Hyde boxes and fights, and he got asked after a victory, who's next? And he yells, Hassan Piker, I'm coming for you. I'm going to stalk you and make it my personality. And it so rattled Hassan Piker that he freaks out whenever anyone asks him about Sam Hyde. He runs away. He's terrified. He's a real big talker. When somebody who he debated previously and was nice to has been murdered.
Yeah.
But when someone jokes about it with him, it's serious. And I find it fascinating. This guy is a communist who was raised in Istanbul, Turkey. This is not someone who would be the center of gravity in the Democrat Party 20 years ago. But he's not the fringe now. He's the base. They're for full socialism. They want communism. They want their enemies dead. And when it doesn't happen, they fantasize about it. So we like to mock communists and make fun of them, but they're serious. Like, they're a real problem. And if we don't crush them, they're going to crush us.
Yeah, it is kind of if they see everything in a relationship of power, it's almost like they're asking for it, Kat.
No, listen, I agree. I do agree that it's a real problem because for what they are, their branding is so good. There is still a large segment of the population that believes that, look, hey man, we just want healthcare is really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the difference between generosity, which is voluntary, and then socialism, which is coercion. It's forcibly taking things from people that don't belong to you, and it's been so unsuccessful. And I think that there needs to be more talk about, hey, listen, listen, we want to help you. We want everyone to be prosperous and healthy and all that. But this is why this does not lead to this. Because for Hassan Piker, you watch that video. Honestly, guys, doing that, I don't think he lost a single fan. Right? People who are on board have already seen him say, we deserve 9/11. I've already seen him, you brought up electrocuting his
dog.
Electrocuting his dog. Okay? Like, nobody's like,
Yeah, a few people, nobody, only a few people booed, Kat.
Yeah, I think everyone,
Yeah, I guess the rest of you were pro.
as unsettling as that is to watch, I don't think anybody's like, well, that's it, I'm off board now.
Yeah.
After they were on board for all of the other things. So
Yeah, the only good thing we can get from it is that the socialist group, I guess the organization is what, 150,000 people, 100,000 people. It's tiny, but they are punching above their weight. And by amplifying it, we probably do them favors. But you have to call it out. I'm conflicted, as you can tell.
Well, also the big picture, like you call out, USSR, you call out Red China, but then if you look at the little, because they always say, well, it was never done right. It was never done right. We're going to do it right. But if you look at the little socialist projects, even the littlest project, they all fail. When you have rent control, increase in rent for everybody else, public housing, slums.
Yeah.
It's like, the projects, whose project was that? It wasn't a black guy, it was some white liberal. I have a project, let's put all the minorities into one building. Good project! Higher education, drive up cost, socialized medicine, which they are demanding. The more things are subsidized by the government, those are the things that go up the highest in price.
There you go. And we must end it there, as people say.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.